Hi there, Dark Dove back with you again, and this is my response to Freddybigstar's Gimmie 10 for 1981. Um, I haven't, I'm a bit slow off the mark this time around, so quite a lot of I've watched Freddy's video and also John 6-inch Pianist and Tim Ghost of Gideon's Strumpet. Quite a few of the records that I'm going to show here have already been shown by both Freddie and John. I don't think any of the ones I have here were shown by Tim Gideon's Strumpet, but at least I don't think so. But I'll get straight into things with definitely, if not one of the best, but yeah, strong contender for the best album of 81, and that is Brian Eno and David Byrne's My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. I'm sure you're all familiar with this, and Freddie did go into quite a bit of detail about it, but yeah, kind of recorded during more or less around the same time as the sessions for Remain in Light, which came out the previous year. So yeah, very influential album. It wasn't the first to use the sampled spoken speech and to manipulate it, and it used tape loops, etc. But it definitely was the album which kind of brought it, I think, to the broader general public. I think, as Freddie said, one of the best tracks on this. Quran, which starts off the second half. This is an original German pressing, so Quran is included on this. But subsequent reissues, of course, such as this CD from 1987, are missing it. And unfortunately, it's probably unlikely to turn up on subsequent reissues in the near future, given, you know, the whole kind of thing with conflicts with the Islamic world and not wanting to offend them and so forth. So it's unlikely to turn up subsequently. So, but it can be found on original pressings. Okay, moving on. This was shown by John, and that is Discipline by King Crimson. This was their first studio album since Red, which came out something like 7 years previously, and this is a different lineup and a different sound. This is kind of bringing prog rock into the post-punk era. So kind of, it has a little bit of a kind of a Talking Heads feel to it in places, this album, which originally Robert Fripp wanted David Byrne to do vocal duties on this, but instead he got Adrian Bellew, who does sound a little bit like David Byrne, but yeah, I really, a lot of people don't care too much for for King Crimson 80s output, but I think this is an absolutely fantastic album, and I think I think this stands up with their 70s output. So that is Discipline, which came out on EG. Okay, now another one which was already shown by Fred, but and this is the All Pairs playing with a different sex. All Pairs, as Fred said, post-punk band from Birmingham. Very kind of militant. I think they were all female. Yeah, they were an all female. Oh no, there was one guy in the mostly female, almost all female lineup. But yeah, again, very much a kind of gang of four, kind of influenced by that lead sound, and there is a kind of a militant, kind of militant feminism is kind of a message running through, which is kind of been exemplified by this insert. Fertility chart, which you know, I won't be making use of myself, but yeah, excellent, excellent post-punk album, and rightly up there with in the top 10 for 81. Another very good companion album to this is the Raincoats Oddie Shape, but unfortunately I don't have that one. I only have it on download. Now, Killing Joke's second album, What's This For? Which is also on EG. Yeah, great follow-up to their self-titled debut from the previous year. Again, you know, this is just grinding, heavy post-punk with a bit of a metal. You know, there's a bit of a Black Sabbath influence in there. Follow the Leader is the or Follow the Leaders rather is the best known track on this, and yeah, so it's kind of an angry year. A lot of these albums very kind of angry, political kind of messages. Oh, again, okay, another one that was shown by Freddie, but I think it's worth showing it again. The Sound, from the Lion's Mouth. The Sound, London band. This is their second album. They have a sound kind of very much influenced by Echo and the Bunnymen, and maybe early U2. There's a kind of reminds me a little bit of U2's first album. Yeah, they never quite made it. Even though they put out this absolutely fantastic album, it just kind of didn't really strike a chord, or it failed to sell both commercial. Well, it got quite a lot of critical acclaim, but just didn't sell. This album is actually very difficult to find in the wild. I don't think it's ever been reissued on vinyl. This is an original German copy, which I was very lucky to get quite cheaply, because this, if you look this up online, this is actually quite pricey. But yeah, hopefully it will be reissued on vinyl, because it really does, deserve to be more widely appreciated, I think. Okay, so 1981 saw the originators of industrial music, Throbbing Gristle, split up. They played their last show in 1981. Now, two of their members, Chris Carter and Cozy Fanny Tootie, went off to record an album of their own, and to engage in a long musical career of their own as Chris and Cozy. And this is their debut album, Heartbeat by Chris and Cozy, and this came out on Rough Trade. Yeah, so anyone who's familiar with Throbbing Gristle's album 20 Jazz Funk Greats, which I showed in the 79 response, it kind of gives you an indicator of what this sounds like. It's electronic industrial, but it's quite accessible. It's kind of almost kind of synth pop. Like, it's much more accessible than a lot of Throbbing Gristle's output, and yeah, it's very. This features vocals by. By the way, there were a couple at this stage, and they still are. They're still together after all these years. Vocals by Fanny Cozy Fanny Tootie, and electronic music by Chris Carter, and yeah, so that's Heartbeat by Chris and Cozy. Now, yeah. Next up is this is like a very popular band in the BC, but this is actually the only album by them that I own. Um, this is the Stranglers, and this is the Gospel according to the Men in Black. This is kind of, the Stranglers. They're part of the first wave of UK punk, but this is kind of an unusual album. A lot of the tracks on this are instrumental, and there's some long instrumental tracks. Um, it's kind of a concept album in a way about aliens and about men in black of the title. The kind of Men in Black were featured in that movie. But anyway, it almost has a kind of a proggy feel to it, really. In places, came out on Liberty, but yeah, I do like this album. Um, I don't actually have anything else, any more of their albums, but yeah. Um, Now, a lot of great synth pop albums came out in 1981. The Human League Dare, which I have, but I'm going to leave it out, even though I really like it. It's a great album, but I'm going to leave it out as a top 10. Also, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. The one Freddy showed it. Not Organization, is it? Or the one that came out. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, John 6-inch Pianist also showed this, and this is Soft Cell's debut non-stop erotic cabaret. Now this is an album which was massively successful commercially, but it kind of an indicator of in the early 80s a lot of really kind of great stuff was just breaking through into the charts. Okay, Soft Cell, originally from Leeds, they relocated to London, and this was recorded mostly in Soho in London, and it kind of soaks up that seedy atmosphere of Soho at that time, and kind of strip clubs, and it's kind of there's tracks like it's Sex Dwarf, Bed Sitter, and there's also that Tainted Love, that fantastic track, which is a cover of an old Northern Soul song. But yeah, one of the, and John mentioned as well. I really like Mark Almond's post Soft Cell stuff as well. Okay. Ben was wondering why I left them out of my last couple of responses, but Tin Drum by Japan, definitely my favourite of their studio albums. The art of it. I mean, the tracks on this are just The Art of Parties, Ghosts, Canton, Visions of China. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic. Again, another high. This was in the mainstream in 1981, which just goes to show like what a fantastic year it was. Even when kind of stuff that was breaking through into the charts was of this quality. Mind you, they also had the Birdie song in the charts, but with was it Birdie song? I don't. Anyway, Tin Drum by Japan. Fantastic stuff. I'm going to end with something less typical of 81, but this is a release on the ECM label, and this is I think this is one of my personal favorites on ECM. It's not terribly well known. John Clark. This, as far as I know, is his only release on the ECM label, and this is called Faces. yeah, John Clark, French horn player, and I absolutely love the opening track, which is called the Ava Kingdom. So, and some John Clark himself, he's American, but there's some good multinational lineup on here. But yeah, love this album. It's a little known entry in the ECM um, back catalogue, but it's one of my personal favourites, which is why I'm showing it. So, and I love that cover as well, that really evocative photo there. So yeah, so that's my top 10 for 1981. There's a lot more that I would have liked to show, but I have to keep it. And Bobby Gas has been warning me that I'm cheating. So okay, so that's it. Everybody have a great weekend.